Well, it looks like we might know when we're going to be getting the very first teaser trailer for Avengers Doomsday. According to a new report from insider Daniel RPK, it's going to be attached to Avatar Fire and Ash, which means we could be getting that first teaser trailer in less than 3 months now. And I think this is actually a part of a really big plan that Marvel Studios has in store for us, and it's going to be a pretty long plan. If you think about it, the release of Avatar Fire and Ash is December 19th. 2025. That's less than 3 months away, and that's just about at a year away from the actual movie. So the teaser is going to be coming a year before the movie even comes out, which is something that Marvel's never really done before. But if we take a look carefully at all of the dates that are going to be coming, including the release of Fire and Ash, we can start to see where Marvel's going to drop all of their teasers, all of their main trailers, and it makes a lot of sense. So let's dive into what they're going to do with the Avatar Fire and Ash movie, attaching the Avengers Doomsday trailer to it, where they're going to do the next teaser after that, and when to expect the full trailer. And then, of course, when are they going to start to go into releasing a clip every other day right before the movie goes out? Let's get into it. So like I said, Daniel RPK says they're going to attach an Avengers Doomsday kind of special look before Avatar Fire and Ash. And the reason I say it's a special look is because Disney actually did this with Avatar Fire and Ash and the Fantastic Four First Steps. If you saw the Fantastic Four First Steps in a theater, you might have saw the special look that came right before the movie started. So you have your previews, and then if your theater is like mine, you have ads in between the previews. There's a lot. And then the movie starts. Well, at my theater, they had the ads, they had the previews, and then the previews were done, and then they showed a special look at Avatar Fire and Ash. If I had to guess, it was probably around 30 to 45 seconds, and it was a really good tease. It showed a lot of footage. It doesn't give you too much of the plot, and that's what I'm expecting for Avengers Doomsday. So December 19th is when Avatar Fire and Ash comes out, and when you go to the theater, you will most likely see a tease for Avengers Doomsday. Now, what kind of teaser can we expect to see? Well, keep in mind, Avengers Doomsday has finished filming. They are going to come back and do some reshoots, and we've heard some things about, well, the ending battle still needs to be shot, but you don't really need the ending battle for a teaser trailer. It would be a little odd to show some parts of the ending battle unless it was like close-ups of some heroes. But think about what we already know about Avengers Doomsday. That's what they're going to show us in the teaser. They might give us a little tease at some X-Men, but I'm assuming it's going to be mostly the characters we already know are going to be in the film that we've seen in the past few films. So expect the new Avengers with a Z. Expect Sam Wilson's Avengers. Expect the return of the Hulk since he's going to be in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Expect to see the Fantastic Four. And expect to get maybe just a tiny bit of the plot. Now, I know the biggest question is going to be, are we going to be getting our first look at Doctor Doom? Well, for Avengers Infinity War, we got our first look at Thanos, but also at the same time, we got our first look at Thanos in the MCU's Infinity Saga in the post-credit scenes and such, and in Guardians of the Galaxy. So it's a little bit of a different scenario here. However, I do think we're going to get a tease of Doom. Perhaps, I think it's going to go one of two ways. Perhaps we won't see the mask, or perhaps we see the mask and don't see Robert Downey Jr.'s face. If I had to pick one, I would say we see Robert Downey Jr.'s face, but we never see him maybe in full Doctor Doom attire. Maybe they tease that he's come back, and for those who haven't been following everything, they might be like, whoa, Doctor Doom is back. And they hint a little bit that he's the villain, just to get people really intrigued, like what is going on? Again, that's for the casual viewing people who don't know anything about Avengers Doomsday and Robert Downey Jr.'s return. I think that's what we're in for the first trailer, but I think it's a good idea that they're releasing this with it being attached to Avatar Fire and Ash, because something else really big is coming up just a couple of months later, the Super Bowl in February. Marvel usually goes pretty big for the Super Bowl. They have most of the time. There's been some times where they've just done like a compilation of a bunch of different shows that were coming up. We've seen that, but it's still like a pretty big promotion because the spot at the Super Bowl cost a lot of money. But there's also been times where they've went really big, shown full official trailers for the first time at the Super Bowl. I think that's what we're in for here. However, I don't think it's the full trailer just yet. I think it's a pretty big tease. I would have to say it would probably be a scene that they would show at the Super Bowl. This would get people super stoked, and it could be a way to cut their costs back rather than showing like a 2.5 minute trailer or a 2 minute trailer or even 1.5 minute trailer. They could just show 30 seconds of a scene, and that scene could very well be the X-Men and the Avengers, all of the Avengers, looking at Doom and basically saying, what do you want? And he could state, I am Doom, and declare his purpose and say, get out of my way, and then it could show them gearing up to fight. That's enough to get people super freaking stoked. What they need to show is all of the different teams and the fact that Doctor Doom is the villain, because a lot of eyes watch the Super Bowl, specifically the commercials at the Super Bowl. So to get everybody aware of what's going down and to get everybody aware of just how big this is going to be with bringing the X-Men back and having variants, and Doctor Doom is now the villain and Captain America is returning, which I'm not sure if they'll show in anything. They probably won't, maybe like a shield or something. But that's what they need to do to get people super hyped for this movie. So we get a teaser, and I want to say like a teaser of a teaser, December 19th, attached to Fire and Ash, if this report is real, because I don't think it's going to be full blown. I think it'll probably be about a minute long, and I think it'll do exactly what it's titled to do. It'll tease us, right? And then we get another look, even bigger look of an actual scene probably at the Super Bowl. And then 6 months before, still kind of a little bit before when Marvel typically releases a full trailer, we will get a full trailer 6 months before. And then I think about 4 to 3 months before, that's when we'll get a full blown, hey, this is actually what's going on in the movie. Here's the plot. Here's Doctor Doom as the villain. Here's all the teams coming back, etc., etc. And maybe hinting that there's also going to be other universes involved and other variant cameos involved. Because as Channing Tatum said yesterday, we're going to lose our minds with this. Like, he said that we're going to get a scene like the scene from Deadpool and Wolverine where Blade walks in the room through the hallway. We're going to get a scene like that times 50. That's huge. And like I mentioned yesterday, I think that means, some teams are showing up that make it that big times 50, played by actors who are also really big. Like, I just keep my fingers crossed for Superior Iron Man, played by Tom Cruise. We know he likes comic book movies, and they went the fanfare route with John Krasinski playing Mr. Fantastic because the fans wanted that. So maybe we get that. Maybe we get Keanu Reeves playing Ghost Rider. There's a lot that I hope for, but the point is, it's going to be really, really big. And I think kind of that last full trailer that comes out, I'm guessing 4 to 3 months before, based on what Marvel has done in the past. So it's an educated wish, I would say, but really it's an educated guess there. 4 to 3 months is when we're going to get the trailer that tells us the most. And then, of course, 2 months in, or 2 months to go left, that's when Marvel Studios starts their just giving us something every other day. And I actually hope for this movie, and we've talked about this on our podcast before, I hope they don't give us too much. I feel like the Fantastic Four marketing was really, really good. And then they started to give us a little bit too much about Galactus. I could have had a little bit less. That way, when we went into the movie and we saw Galactus, it was much more of a surprise. But still, I thought it was better marketing than before, not giving us so much. And I really think they're going to do that with Avengers Doomsday. They're not going to give us too much about what's actually going on, but they are going to show us that the X-Men are back. They're with the Avengers now. They are going up against Doom, and there probably are some cameos that are coming just to build that hype, because they need it. They really need pretty much everybody to go watch this movie, because there's nothing coming out in between Doomsday and Secret Wars now. So they need everyone to go watch Doomsday so they can see how great it's going to be. Again, this is in their minds, but I don't doubt it's going to be very great. And that gets everybody super pumped for Avengers Secret Wars. So if this report is true, we are looking at the first teaser for Avengers Doomsday in less than 3 months, December 19th, when Avatar Fire and Ash releases. I'm not sure if it's going to release in theaters and online simultaneously, but if it goes in theaters only, then it's probably only going to last in theaters only for a little bit before they release it online. So if you can't go to the theaters, don't worry. You'll be all right. They'll release it online eventually. But this is quick. This is soon. This is very soon. But I'm excited for it because we know they're going to start marketing this thing out way in advance. That was always their plan. They've already started it with their production has begun video. So this is just the next step, and we're going to get a lot more coming after this. So I'm super excited. Let me know how excited you are in the comments down below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest Marvel news. You can also find us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Snapchat. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.